With that said, we're going to start the Hubcast in 3, 2, 1.
Are you an inbound marketer looking for the inside scoop on what's next? Are you ready to unlock HubSpot's full potential and yours? If so, you've come to the right place. The Hubcast is your leading resource for user-friendly HubSpot tips, expert insights and strategies, exclusive interviews with inbound's brightest minds, and the latest insider news. And now, here's your host, George B. Thomas.
And what's up, everybody? We are back for another episode of the Hubcast. Can you believe it? The 171, baby. I feel like I should have some type of sign that I can throw up, like the 171 or something. You know what's crazy is with 171 episodes, I'm liking the numbers game today, Karina. With 171, and then there's like all these HubSpot certifications. Let's start with that. Like, have you heard about the new certifications or like the changing of what's going on around HubSpot Academy?
I have. I mean, I've seen all these sort of little things coming across, and it seems like a lot of little things are building into much bigger changes. But I've heard some whisperings from you, George, about this new inbound certification.
Yeah, it's so this is super interesting to me, and we can see where HubSpot is going without a doubt, or HubSpot Academy, I should get more specific there. And that is that there is a new inbound cert, which is more of a holistic company, inbound company versus inbound marketing or inbound sales. However, I'm a little confused right now because, you know, as a guy who pays attention to the numbers of certifications, like historically there were 18 certifications, but now there's this new inbound cert, which would that actually be number 19? I don't know, because if you go like to the My Team section in your HubSpot portal, which listeners, viewers, have you checked out your team section? Like there's a race to be won. And there's so many people not even running the race. I'm just saying there are so many people.
You can really find out who's competitive in your organization by going to that page.
Yeah. I totally went to this page earlier in the week, and I saw that there are like 3 people that I was like, instantly, I had mad props for them. I'm like, oh. I mean, that's like, those were the noises I was making literally when I was seeing how many certifications people had, because I am a little bit competitive. But I'm super curious what HubSpot Academy is going to do, because there are these people who have the inbound certification. It yet hasn't changed to the inbound marketing certification, which, by the way, is new as well. Like they redid that. So the inbound marketing one's new. Then there's inbound certification that is new. You should check out both of those. Actually, part of our strategy section from today comes out of one of those new pieces that we've been watching. But anyway, HubSpot Academy, if you're listening, please let us know. Is there going to be like 19 certs going across there at some point in time? When can we maybe just get like 2 levels of 9 instead of like scrolling forever over to the right?
Maybe
yes.
We could get folders. Some folders for our certifications, like the CTA tool. I don't know.
First of all, Karina, most people are probably watching this and being like, I have 1. Y'all can just shut up and leave me alone. Or I have 3, right? Most people don't need folders, but what I will say is if you are with the HubSpot Academy, work for the HubSpot Academy, or know somebody at the HubSpot Academy, you should say, hey, y'all should talk to George and Karina, because they got some mad ideas to make the educational space inside the HubSpot Academy maybe a little bit more fluid, maybe a little bit more understandable. Hey, maybe that will happen. We'll have to see. But Karina, I should probably let everybody know that this episode of the Hubcast is brought to you by Yip Yip Hooray!
Yip.
Hey, no, it's just Yip Yip actually. And we'll talk about goyipyip.com a little bit later in the episode. But first of all, I want to let everybody know that they are missing out if they are not going over to the show notes, if they're not clicking on our free 15-minute assessment. You know, here's the thing. I love doing free 15-minute assessments because I never know what somebody's actually going to ask to do. Like one time it could be a persona. One time it could be like look at my workflows. One time it could be like, how can I get the most out of lists? If you have an individual piece of your HubSpot portal, sales, marketing, soon to possibly be serviced, just saying, and you want a free 15-minute assessment, some little shot in the arm to what you might be doing better, or maybe just for me to say, hey, you're a rock star, baby, which I do say that quite often. Usually I'm looking in the mirror. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Anyway, go over to the show notes, click that link, schedule your free 15, not 50. Whoo! I'm generous. I'm just not that generous. 15 minutes free assessment. Karina, you know what else is awesome? HubSpot properties of the week. What do you got for us this week?
All right, this week I went nuts this week. I didn't really just give you a property of the week. I gave you a property of the week with like some to-dos attached to it. So the property that I found this week was sends since last engagement. So what this property is, it's the number of marketing emails that have been sent since the last engagement on an email, which is an open or a link click. So we have a link to read a little bit more about this in the show notes. But essentially what this is it tells you how many emails have been sent to a specific contact since they've like engaged in some way with one of your emails, opening it, clicking on it. And I was diving into this a little bit, and, I think that you could really easily, it's a really easy way to see which of your contacts aren't engaged. Depending on how many emails you're sending out, you could create workflows and lists based on how people are engaging with your emails. But really something that this ties very closely into is HubSpot's, if you've been in the email tool recently in the last couple months and you've sent an email, you've seen this little checkbox at the bottom under the recipients tab that said, don't send to unengaged contacts. And this is a functionality that HubSpot built in. And you may or may not know what this actually means and how HubSpot defines an unengaged contact. So I figured that I would shed a little bit of light on that as well, because HubSpot is essentially using the sends since last engagement for this. So HubSpot's already using this property of the week for you. But how a contact is categorized as unengaged is they've either never opened a marketing email from you and they've not opened the last 11 emails you've sent them, or they've previously opened a marketing email from you, but they haven't opened the last 16 emails you've sent them. And what HubSpot does, they've already created a smart list. It's view only, but there's a smart list in the list tool that's called unengaged contacts that you can get to from the email tool, that you can see all of your contacts. You can use that list to run something like a re-engagement campaign. It's already there for you. So make sure you hop into the show notes and check out. I have a link in there to talking about re-engagement and all the stuff that you can do with those unengaged contacts. So definitely a juicy property of the week this week.
Yeah, this one is super dope. I mean, it should have just been hashtag strategy right there. We just dumped a ton of value, because what you need to be thinking about is just email in general, like engagement, unengaged, re-engaged, the fact that you can even email them. You know, Karina, what's funny is so many companies, they focus on let's build the list, but then they don't use the list to sell, or they don't use the list to nurture, and it's super crazy. You shouldn't be doing that. I wish that you weren't doing that. You know what else I wish? I wish today's HubSpot wish list wasn't a true thing that we wished for, but we do. And so let's go ahead and get into the HubSpot wish list. Well, today, Karina, I am happy to tell you that this wish list is brought to us by one of our own. You know, we are in the tool quite a bit as educators of HubSpot and content and video in the education pod. La-di-da-di, we like to potty. Just saying. Hello. I dropped it on the Hubcast, people. If you don't know what that was, just tweet me out. I'll let you know. But this is brought to you by Kevin Phillips. And the idea here, the wish list item, is device type segmentation for pages, landing pages, and CTAs. And here's what Kevin wrote. He said it would be very, and I would have added like a very, very, very to it, but he said very, valuable to be able to segment data based on device type. For example, but it says in here I was working with a client on how one of their top trafficked pages was performing. Their CTA was getting a decent amount of clicks, but the landing page wasn't getting many submissions. While looking at their landing page on my mobile device or phone or smartphone, I noticed, which it's not me, it's Kevin. But anyway, I know that got confusing for a hot second, but hey, just stick with me. He noticed some of their form fields answers were getting truncated on mobile, and he wanted to know if this was impacting the rates of submission on that form. Anything that any smart marketer would want to do. This is amazing. I'm like, Kevin, this is awesome. However, in HubSpot, whatever, can't segment the data to see how the page is performing on mobile versus desktop. He has to go into Google Analytics for that information, which means, and these are my words, not Kevin's, HubSpot ceases to be an all-in-one marketing software at that point. Considering that's what we always say it is. And I would love to be able to get that important data segmentation without having to leave HubSpot somehow on the page. I know they're pulling the data, like we're pulling the data into the web analytics tool, but can you take the web analytics information and pump it into the actual page or the CTA so we can actually say, 27% of this was desktop, 0 was mobile, or something along those lines, and we could start to answer this question. Anyway, if you agree with Kevin or me or I or he, just go to the show notes and vote it up. Karina, Facebook. Love it, hate it, leave it. Some people are leaving, some people are staying, but we're doing some fun stuff around it. Why don't you talk to the people about that?
Yeah, we're not leaving just yet. So we've got Impact Elite and Mastering HubSpot. Impact Elite just made a huge announcement on Friday. We reached 2,500 members. We're super excited about that. It really has been heating up. There's been a lot of really cool stuff in there. I'm not just saying that. And we're not just growing it to grow it. So if you're in Impact Elite, you may have wondered, or if you're not in Impact Elite, you may have wondered, is it just, you just add it and get in there. But we actually have a manager of that group, Steph, who's awesome. Shout out to Steph, who goes through and you actually have to submit, not an application, but you request to join and you put a little blurb in there about why you want to join the community. So we're not just letting anybody in. We really want people that are going to be engaged members, that are going to be contributing. So that's really cool. Another thing that I wanted to share was a little blurb from Mastering HubSpot that happened over the last couple of weeks. A few weeks ago, a guy named Ryan posted about having some challenges with the HubSpot COS, and specifically around e-commerce, and he was looking for advice and alternatives. There was a bunch of helpful comments in there from people who have used different things, potential solutions with HubSpot. Not only that, but HubSpot's very own Jeffrey Vosell, who you've heard us talk about a lot in the last couple months, even popped in there, left a comment, and told Ryan to reach out to him because he wanted to get that feedback of whatever frustrations he was having. So there's HubSpotters, not just people using HubSpot, but people at HubSpot who are engaged in that community. So if you really want to keep up to date with what's going on with HubSpot and get help or advice for anything that you're doing in there, you got to get on Mastering HubSpot. Links to both Impact Elite and Mastering HubSpot are in the show notes.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you, Karina. That's one of the things that because by the way, the Mastering HubSpot was just like hey, I'm going to throw this idea out there and see if anybody connects with it, which we're Impact Elite staff, but we've got like over 300 people specific to being like mastering or wanting to master HubSpot. And when I saw some individuals jumping in, like Jeffrey Vosell and other employees, to actually engage and pay attention to what was happening there, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like a conduit has formed itself, and there's like this almost wall that is starting to fall down. And I would love to see more HubSpotters, HubSpot employees. I'd love to see more members. If you're listening and you're not a member of the Mastering HubSpot Facebook group, you need to go over there, Impact Elite as well. Karina, we're going to talk about something that I don't know. honestly, if we've ever talked about on the Hubcast for this week's HubSpot strategy. So in the strategy section today, I want to talk about inbound service and what does that mean for your company. And Karina, I'm curious, throwing her on the spot, by the way, listeners and viewers, when you think about inbound service, like what do you inherently think of just at the top of your head, being somebody who historically has not been in a service role?
I mean, I think my initial thought goes to customer service. Right? Probably just because service is in the name. But thinking about, people who are coming to your company who are looking for help for different reasons. And, how do we handle that? How do we, nurture and help people and delight people who are maybe already customers. But there's just like a whole other side of that of like customer retention or client retention that I think ties into inbound service. But I could be totally off.
No,
you tell me.
No, you're not. And here's the thing. Before I get into this week's strategy, I want to let everybody know, and I'm going to say it at the end of the strategy section too, that if you want to dive more into what I'm and Karina are about to talk about, you want to go watch the new inbound certification. Again, it's more holistic. It's more about inbound company. And there is a large section or sections that is about customer service, which, by the way, customer success, maybe that's what they call it, would be a good sign that the customer success tool or service tool is going to be coming out soon. I don't know how soon. I know inbound is roughly about 6 months away. Anyway, back onto the strategy section. One thing that I thought was super interesting in this was where they talked about inbound service. They talked about customer support, customer service, and customer success. And inherently, one might think that those are all the same thing. It's just different ways to say it. But HubSpot Academy, Lindsay, who she's a baller, by the way, one of the just amazing professors, they're all great, but she's amazing, was talking about how there's a reactive, a proactive, and then an initiated way that you can take care of service in inbound service. And so customer support, what they said is it's reacting to customers' needs. It's about being there for customers, whatever they need and whenever they need it, right? So it's reactive. Like, okay, we're just kind of sitting here. Oh, somebody needs something, and we go do it. Customer service is more proactive, and so they talk about how it's about you having something for the customer instead of a customer saying that they need something from you, right? So I start to think about in this customer service versus customer support, I think about Joey Coleman. He's got this whole thing that is like the first 100 days and how you might have an automated workflow that certain pain points happen when somebody's, let's just say, for an example, using your SaaS company, and all of a sudden customer services that about the 5th day they start to work in the workflows tool, so the 4th day you send out an email with some video tutorials on workflows. That'd be customer service because it's proactive. Then there's customer success, which is initiated by the business, and it's doing something that a customer might not have ever known they wanted or needed. Now that's wide open, but I start to think about that and all the magical things that you could do with that. And really the magical things of just understanding that there is a difference between success, service, and support, and starting to break down your company in those 3 levels. A couple other things. I'm going to ask you another question. Again, putting her on the spot. I love that part of the show, by the way. Just like, hey, what do you think of this? Because that used to be me, right? Marcus would be like, so what do you think Michelle Obama gets paid to go do? And I was like, I have no clue. $5. But I'm curious, when you think about empathy as a female, because a male perspective of empathy is probably way different than a woman's perspective of empathy. But when I say that word, what do you think of immediately?
I mean, if there's one word I would think of, emotions, but I think, when I really think about empathy, it's about connecting with people on a human level and being able to understand people that are different than you and what different people might be experiencing and feeling, even if you maybe haven't experienced that same thing yourself.
I love that you brought up the word human, because in the new inbound cert, they use human, helpful, and holistic. Like, you can tell that that's the one thing they're trying to get you to take away, like the overarching thing, because they say human, helpful, and holistic. And yeah, empathy, while the definition is the action of understanding or being aware of, being sensitive to, experiencing the feelings, right? You said feelings, thoughts, and experiences of another, a human, hopefully. I mean, let's just say human, past or present, right? And we got the whole definition for empathy in there. But what I love is how HubSpot Academy, they talk about with empathy, the cousin, the sister, the brother, the attaching piece that has to go along with this is listening. And so many of us say that we're good at listening, but we're good at like listening in a way that we're going to add something in as soon as somebody like shuts up, and we're like, oh, but my thought is this. We weren't even listening. And so HubSpot talks about empathy and listening and how it should be active listening. And so what I'm challenging all the Hubcast listeners to think about is right now in your sales, marketing, and service, and specifically service, how are you being empathetic to the customer and the problem that they're trying to solve? How are you actively listening, which means your full concentration, comprehending and focusing on what is being said rather than passively hearing the message? How are you using that in your service? And how will you use the 3 layers of support, service, and success with that empathetic, active listening? And then I'm just going to give you a little teaser here. When you go and watch the inbound certification, how will you use all of that to build out your engage, guide, and grow system that you may use in a new tool that you may use sometime soon? Hey, if you want to learn more, they should check out the certification. There's a link in the show notes. I literally made it say, check it out now. Yeah.
So, brother.
What are your thoughts on this?
I love this. I think specifically, this made me just think about, I think historically, like the inbound certification originally felt very formulaic in a lot of ways. Like if you do X, Y, and Z, and that was sort of how inbound in marketing in general was like initially. It was a super formulaic, like you just got to do 6 blogs a week and 10 tweets a week and 2 LinkedIn posts a week. And this was just like very like, if you do X, Y, and Z, you will get A, B, and C. And that's something I actually talked about in my inbound talk a lot, was like, I think we're getting to the point where we're realizing that there is no formula, like one formula for success. And I think that, the key is really, I think what HubSpot is starting to get at, and what HubSpot Academy is starting to get better and better and better at training people at, is there isn't a formula. Here's maybe some ideas of things that other people have done that have worked really well, but really you need to stop thinking about people like they're robots. And I think we do that a lot as marketers. We look at people we look at our websites or our nurturing or things like that, and we sort of just like try to predict people and what they're going to do. And we can really lose that human aspect. So I love the trend that HubSpot is going to with this. And it's just, I think, a trend in I don't know, in overall just like communications and media communications right now. And I'm happy to see HubSpot keeping up. And this has got me really fired up to get into this new inbound certification. Yeah,
I'm hoping that's what most people are like, okay, considering it's only like 2.5 hours, everybody should go dive in this. It's not a deep dive. It's not long, but it's very valuable. And Karina, I'm going to sum up what I heard you say and exactly what I was feeling as I was watching this. In 2012, the thing that quote unquote, and if you're listening, I'm using air quotes, the thing that turned me on about inbound at that point in HubSpot was the fact that it was all about being more human, doing it in a human way, like connecting at a human level. And I feel like after 2012, somewhere in 2013, 2014, we came very much into a tactical, regimented like thing. And now to see where we're coming back to this human, helpful, holistic messaging, I'm glad I'm still riding this pony, people. That's all I'm going to say. You know what else I'm glad about? I'm glad that our sponsor this week is HubSpot. It's true sales enablement solution if you need it. Hey, you can reuse your existing content to amplify reach while helping the sales team stay top of mind. Bottom line is you can be creating content that can be on a blog, or you can be creating content that is on blogs. You can be creating content that is associated really with one person, or content that is associated with many salespeople. And so in this world where we're trying to make our sales reps be the thought leader, how can we enable them to do that? Well, then if you're curious about that, which just so you know you should be, goyipyip.com is what you should check out without a doubt. Without a doubt, fool. Nobody's a fool. I just was like getting a little ghetto there for a hot second. I don't know what was going on, but let's go ahead and rein this bad boy back in. And Karina, HubSpot updates today. You know, it's funny because as this was laying itself out, which, by the way, some people would say that I actually build the show. I think the show builds itself. As it was laying itself out, I realized the top part was very much about education and customer service and success. And then this middle section was about how there's an incredible sales tool that is the HubSpot CRM, and some things that are being added in and connecting and like right into this thing where you've just got a tool that you're going to be able to rock and roll with. Why don't you go hit us with today's well, actually it's this week's, but who cares? Today's HubSpot updates.
Yes. So I feel like more and more of these that have been coming out are all CRM stuff. So definitely big push on the CRM here. So the first one we have is a HubSpot Connect integration for Map My Customers. Map My Customers is a product that gives you a visual look into your data by mapping contacts, companies, or deals in the HubSpot CRM. So you can easily plan a road trip to visit and nurture your best clients and check in on promising leads by using the Map My Customers integration. Powerful customer and opportunity visualization while on the road helps make sure you never miss a valuable visit again. Now, I personally found this fascinating, mostly because I'm not in sales, and I'm going to put you on the spot, George, here in a second, but this seems like a really cool thing. I watched the video, and it literally is like, you can put people in different, deal stages or, customers in different stages. And then you get a really nice looking map of all these pins, and they're color coordinated and everything. You can do cool things like automating emails. Like you can select just like a region. If your salesperson is like visiting a specific area, you could send out an email saying, hey, I'm going to be popping in. For a company like Impact, it was hard for me to imagine us using something like this because that's just not part of how we sell right now. So, George, I want to know, what kind of company do you think something like this would be good for?
Yeah, so I'm glad you put me on the spot. First of all, Impact would be great for this, but we would have to sell more locally than we do. Like, we have the ability, because who we are, to sell very virtually, like Norway and San Diego and, Maine and Texas, and just because of the space that we're in. But if I was a smaller agency, I would use this tool. If I'm a company that is focused on providing a product or service in a geo-located area, I would use the poop out of this. But which, by the way, I wanted to swear there, but I just don't usually swear. So like poop was like the strongest word I was comfortable with using. But I would use this because, well, first of all, just imagine if you had life cycle stages and it was like maybe, you know, sales qualified lead, and like Tuesdays was this geographic location of sales qualified leads that you were going to drive around and actually like deliver bagels or donuts or, you know, your brochures to, or just go have a human conversation with them so that you can garnish some more trust. You would be able to map it out. I even thought like at a larger level of if I'm in the sales process and all of a sudden where people are like, well, who else uses your tool? I'd be like, look at my big fat map right here with all these pinpoints on it. These people use my tool. Why aren't you using my tool yet? Like, I mean, it's just a really great visual representation, and it's a great way to leverage the data that you have to just do so many things as a sales professional. Unfortunately, I'm not a sales professional. I'm just a host of the Hubcast. But if I were one of those guys or gals, I would definitely look into this, see if it's a good fit for your company. And I'd also see if the rest of the HubSpot updates were a good fit for your company as well.
Yes, so we have two features that are now live within the CRM. So the first one is automated tasks on deal stages. Your team likely has a standardized process once deals enter your pipelines. For example, you might have certain steps that are always taken when a demo or proposal is requested. I know that Impact has lots of these set up in the CRM. There's like 12 steps and all the deal stages. Naturally, you might want to use tasks to help your sales reps follow this process. It's usually pretty standard processes that you have built out. So there's probably tasks that you have to do every single time you move a deal to a different stage. So now live, and I'm sure that sales reps are rejoicing, you have the ability to create tasks on deals automatically when deals change stages. So if you go into setting up the deal stages, you'll see there's a tab for automation, and you can set the tasks up right there, which is, I know, going to be super nice on the sales side.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, I put this right up with like the Browns win the Super Bowl. The HubSpot Reports add-on is free. Like all of the pigs fly. Like all those things that you dream about when you're like a young tot to like growing up. The fact that automated tasks on deal stages is a thing is absolutely amazing. The fact that did you even talk about rotated leads?
Not yet.
Yeah, like, see, I jumped the gun there. I'm going to just shut up and let Karina, like, today is the Christmas. It is the Christmas of the sales tool. Anyway, I'll be quiet. Karina, rotated leads, like, take that away.
Yeah, so, you know, I learned something new this week. And, you know, I'm humble enough to be able to say that I don't know everything. And especially on the sales side, that's something that I'm learning a ton about right now because I want to own that thing. But rotating leads was something that I didn't actually realize was a thing. I had to like look up like, what is rotating leads?
Round robin, baby. Round robin.
But I did. So now live is the functionality of rotating leads to teams and custom owners. So previously, you could only do it, rotate leads between HubSpot owners. So this, what HubSpot said is now live is the ability to both rotate leads to a custom owner property and rotate leads between a team within workflows. We talked about teams, I think it was a week or two ago. It makes it easier than ever to scale your business in HubSpot as your team grows. Again, saving more time, making it easier to nurture those leads and get them where they need to be. Good stuff on the HubSpot CRM this week.
It is ridiculous, people. I'm just telling you. You know what I like about when there's more HubSpot CRM updates, more HubSpot updates in general? It gives me more to talk about when we go out and do workshops. It gives me more to train on when we actually do our consulting. And it makes for a way better show called the Hubcast, because otherwise that would have been like a long period of silence that we wouldn't have known what to fill it with. Anyway, we're also going to fill some silence with tweets. Tweets of the week. This week I got a couple that I actually found. I've been trying to keep it down to one, Karina, but I'm a sucker for the GIFs, the GIFs. I don't care. That's not what this conversation is about. And so Shayla Renee, she tweeted out, it's late on a Sunday, or actually it's late on a hashtag Sunday night, and all I can think about is ... It's still 6 months until hashtag inbound 18. And of course, this is like one of the twins, this is taking forever. It's one of the Olsen twins, by the way, right? When they're young and cute, which again is not a conversation that we'll dive too
Full
far
House
into.
reference.
Yeah, Full House reference. But then, so Full House and Friends, a Friends reference is in this next tweet, where Paul Mortimer said, applied to speak at hashtag inbound 18. By the way, Paul, if you listen to this, which you probably will, because we'll probably tweet out to you that you were on the episode. As a matter of fact, Karina, maybe going forward, I might have you like, hey, HubSpot mentions. I haven't done that for a while. Or I guess it's Hubcast mentions, because we're not HubSpot, but Hubcast mentions at Paul Digital 22. He applied to speak at hashtag inbound Paul. If you make it, let me know. I want to be in the room because, you're on the show and I saw your tweet and I just want to see how you do. Not to make you any more nervous, because your tweet said, now very nervous and not sure I'll live up to anywhere near the expectations. If they say yes, yeah, you will, buddy. You'll do just fine. Just like when I first asked, and I think it's Charpilk, I don't know, but it's a person on a date, which is Charlotte Mortimer. So guess what? I guess the first date worked out, buddy. So I'm pretty sure that the inbound talk will work out too. I'm just saying, Georgie B and Karina are in your corner. Those are the tweets of the week. What do you think of the tweets I pulled out, Karina? I know you're like, I got an awe moment, which is good.
Yeah, that one was tugging at my heartstrings. You know what made me think about is I heard some murmurings. I'm not going to say who, but I heard that somebody may have gotten a speaker acceptance notification recently. So things are happening in the hashtag inbound 18 world. So I have a feeling we're going to be making some inbound updates here pretty soon.
Yeah, 6 months away, and we did get notification of somebody, and no, it's not Karina. And no, it's not me. And for $50 a pop, I'll tell you in a seat. No, I won't do that. And I would. It's not worth $50. But the person is worth $5 bazillion, and I can't wait to see them speak either. Karina, I'm so proud of you. By the way, the fact that you are like on episodes saying, "Man, I learned something new." This what people don't realize is for 171 episodes. The thing that I have loved about the Hubcast the most is that it has taught me something new every single week, if not multiple things. And so to see somebody else realizing and understanding, wow, like this is lifelong learning, like every week something new. It just feels really good, as well as why I'm proud of you is last month, anyway, within the last couple of days, we sent out another monthly newsletter. Why don't you let people know about what they missed, how they could sign up, and the fact that they're crazy if they're not already getting them.
Yeah. So our March newsletter went out on Friday. If you missed it, here's what you missed. Basically, you missed a lot about me. So maybe you're like, oh, that's fine then. But really, I just gave some background on how I got to be co-hosting on the Hubcast every week, how I got there, and talked a little bit about inbound last year, talked about just my journey at Impact the last couple of years. Really just kind of heart-to-heart newsletter email, sharing a little bit more about me. So if you want to hear about that, hit me up, cduffy@impactbnd.com, and I'll send you the March one. And if you want to stay in the loop with our monthly newsletters, head over to impactbnd.com/Hubcast, our Hubcast page, and you can sign up right on that page to get those monthly newsletters. And hey, we would love to know if there's anything that you want to hear from us. Like if you want to see any behind the scenes, if there's anything you want to know about George and I, how we do the Hubcast, if there's anything that you've really been wanting us to talk about, let us know and we'll include it in the newsletter.
Yeah, and I'll say this because Karina's being super humble. This newsletter was amazing for her to just read how she told the story of going from a place to a different place. It's amazing. You'll definitely want her to forward that. Also, next month, we got something special for you. Oh, yeah, we got something special for you people, but only for those of you who signed up. Can't tell you. It's a secret. You know what's not a secret in about 45 seconds from now, and that's this week's question of the week. Karina, what do you got going on the question of the week this week?
So my question for this week, I want to know, how many HubSpot products are you using? So HubSpot has it seems like a million products now, but we got marketing, we got all kinds of levels of that, CRM, COS, reporting add-on, Sales Pro, there's a million. And I want to know how many you guys are using. If you're only using one or two, why maybe aren't you using more? If you're using all of them, how's that going? I would love to just get a pulse on how people are using HubSpot as a whole, because we use it we use everything. We use it all. But I want to know for our listeners and our viewers, what you guys are using and why.
Which, using it all, some might call that insanity. It's funny because when I saw this question of the week, I was like, well, what's funny is that we're asking just major tools, right? You listed out marketing, CRM, CMS, or COS. It depends which week and who
ones that you have to
ask.
buy separately.
Yeah. Reporting add-ons, Sales Pro. I'm sure there's more that we probably just don't know about. There's going to be a service one coming soon. I'm just telling you, customer success, it'll be here. There'll probably be an add-on to that too. Anyway, but then I started thinking inside the tools of the tools, like in the marketing tool, there's 27 or 30 tools. Inside the CRM, there's 10, 12 tools. So I love this question. You need to let us know. Hit us up. Oh, what a good episode. This is just some good energy, right?
How's fired up today, George? Let me tell you.
I like when you're fired up. I like when I'm fired up. Actually, I probably like when I'm calmed down because I usually am just fired up. There's no off button, people. I apologize for that sometimes. But until next time, if you are listening to this on your favorite podcast app, make sure you go over to iTunes, leave us a rating and review. 5 stars, if you will. If you're listening to that, you should go watch just that part because it's pretty funny. Maybe even that second part. I'm not going to do it a third time. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Hit that little bell if you want to be part of the Bell Squad. And until next time, she is
Karina Duffy.
And I'm George B. Thomas. And you can tell that she's waiting for me to do something stupid at the end, making her do something. But until next week, folks, happy HubSpotting. I can tell by your face. Here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes.
Is he going to make me say my name or is he going to make me say happy HubSpotting?
Oh, that's awesome.